Welcome to Firsts in Fiction, your first stop for learning to write fantastic fiction. I'm your host, Aaron Gansky, author of The Bargain, the Hand of Adonai series, and Firsts in Fiction.
And I'm Santa Algansky, coming to you from Central California, where the North Pole is now. Especially this morning, it was really cold. And I'm the author of a bunch of nonfiction books and a bunch of novels also, about 45 or something like that.
Who's
Nice
counting?
resume. Nice resume. I want to be like you someday.
Well, I want to change it to say I've written 45 books and one of them's good.
Yeah, I don't want to be like that. But, I'm Molly. I'm the social media ninja, podcast producer, and author of the Unemployment Cookbook and the upcoming mystery location, NOLA.
Excellent. So we want to welcome you guys here with us this evening, and for those of you watching live, those of you who are not watching live, you can watch us record live each Tuesday evening at 6:30 p.m. with the exception of next week, which we will take off. We'll talk about that more a little bit later. But 6:30 p.m. I know Molly's not happy about it. But 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can watch us on Google Hangouts. Best thing to do is to add us, Firsts in Fiction Podcast at gmail.com. Add us to your Google circles, and then you'll get the invites. Love to have you watching along. And yeah, so thank you all for listening. Pops, you've got a publishing term for us this week?
Yep, and I'm going to give you 3 terms because these often get mixed up. I can tell you one thing an acquisition editor doesn't like or an agent doesn't like is when they're being pitched by someone, say at a writer's conference, and they ask them what kind of book it is, and they go, well, it's kind of, well, I was hoping you could tell me. And you're pretty well done by that point. You need to know what your book is and what it is that you're doing with it. And one of the ones that get mixed up are autobiography, memoir, and self-help personal story. So I get a lot of these people talk to me about them, about how to present them and the like. So quick definition, an autobiography, auto means self. An automobile is something that moves on its own power. An autobiography is a biography written by the person. So very clear lines about that. It really covers the individual's life. So if you're writing an autobiography, you're starting in the beginning and you're going to whatever point you are in your life now. Then there's memoir. Memoir is a little different. It's not really an autobiography, though it is autobiographical. It's some aspect of your life that you want to talk about, something you've been through, your experience. You're an astronaut and you want to talk about your time with NASA. You're a fighter pilot, whatever it might be. There's some aspect to your life, a memoir. A couple of the best ones I've read have been from missionaries, and I started by reading them thinking, nah, this isn't going to be good, and it turned out to be great. But that's memoir. You're talking about some aspect. It isn't from the day you're born till the moment you're writing this thing. It is some aspects, or you're emphasizing it. And then one thing that comes up a lot, and I see this a lot, are self-help personal stories. And these are people who often have had something like cancer, and they want to talk about it. They want to share how they got through it. I've seen some good ones done this way, where there's been like a loss of a family member, very sad kind of thing, but how they dealt with those last days and the losing of a child. And their goal in doing all of that is to provide some encouragement, some strength, some ideas, that sort of thing. And I think for the writer, it's also a way of coming to terms with their own pain and the like. So those are really 3 publishing terms. Autobiography is you write your own biography of your life. Memoir deals with some aspect of your life, some set of events. And self-help is something you've been through that others can benefit from, and you're writing a book about that. And those are our publishing terms for the week.
And all of those, by the way, non-fiction. So probably not going to be doing any casts about those anytime soon. Though you can do fictional memoirs if you want, fictional autobiographies. A Million Little Pieces by James Frey was largely fictional, even though he pitched that as autobiographical. It was a memoir, I think, is how he pitched it. Yeah. Memoirs tend to sell quite a bit, and so you'll see a lot of people writing memoirs. And for a while, there were a lot of people writing memoirs that were entirely fictional. One woman, a German woman, wrote about how she was raised by wolves in the Black Forest of Germany, and nobody called her on it. At no point did the publisher say, gee, this seems a little far-fetched. They all said, no, yeah, raised by wolves. That's think I read that somewhere else. The
Well,
Jungle
that was
Book.
that was Jack and Edna Wolves, wasn't it? Lived
Yeah,
down in the
yeah,
corner, yeah, a little cul-de-sac. Jack and Edna
mm,
Wolves.
yeah. I remember them. So, oh my goodness. Anyhow, so interesting stuff though. But a lot of people draw from their lives, from memoirs and things of that nature, to put into their fiction. And as a fiction writer, I think it's still valuable to read some memoirs. I think it's still valuable to read some autobiographies as well. Biographies, autobiographies. I just recently read the biography of Kurt Vonnegut Jr. And that was a lot of fun. So interesting stuff there. So thank you for that, Pops.
Well, you hit on something there we probably ought to talk about. It's a little off topic, but since it's been introduced, we maybe need to flesh it out just a little bit. Uh, One of the most disturbing things I deal with when I deal with people who want to be writers is that they don't read in what they write. So, for example, somebody will come and I'm going to use memoir here. So this is a memoir that I'm writing about, and they'll tell me what it's basically about, and I'll ask them, what was the last memoir you read? And I would say at least 8 out of 10, maybe 9 out of 10 times, they can't name a memoir. The way that ties into first in fiction is, if you're writing science fiction, you need to be reading science fiction. If you're writing supernatural suspense, you need to be reading supernatural suspense. If you're doing mysteries, adventure, whatever it might be, military fiction, literary fiction, that's what you need to be reading so you can see what's being done. If you're just guessing at what those genres are, you're going to have trouble, and there's a very good chance you're not going to be successful at it. So that is your training field. You read what you want to write.
I could not agree more. As a matter of fact, when I first started writing fantasy, I knew I was going to have to start reading fantasy, which is not something that I had previously done. I've heard musicians and writers both say that they deliberately do not listen to the music that they're creating, the type of music that they're creating, or they don't read what the types of books that they're writing because they don't want to steal ideas, they don't want to be cliche, etc. But if you've never read fantasy, it's one thing to read fantasy and then not read it for a period of time and then write something. It's completely different to want to write fantasy and never have read it at all. That's like saying, I'm going to be a star football player, but I'm never going to watch. We're never going to watch football. Well, of course you are. If you want to learn how the greats do it, you're going to have to read the greats. So, yes, that was definitely off topic, but still worthwhile. I'm glad we...
Yeah, and I've heard of writers, I think Stephen King made this comment that he doesn't read while he writes because it's distracting. It gets him off track. That doesn't mean he doesn't read. He reads all the time. But when he's heavily, and it may not be Stephen King, maybe a different author, but when the author is involved in composing the story, usually the first draft, he avoids writing or reading anything in that genre. He'll read other genres, nonfiction, stuff like that. And then when he's done with that, then he'll go back to reading what he loves.
Absolutely, yeah.
That should be a topic, an entire topic, because I already have questions and, comments about that. So.
Well, we can see where we can fit it in. We've got a calendar.
I know. We've got a schedule for next year. I'm so happy.
It's exciting. We'll have to... oh, my goodness. Is this the show where we need to talk about that? Because we're not going to do another one next week. I guess we have one right before New Year's, don't we?
I think we do, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about next year then.
The 29th, I think, is what it would be.
Yeah. So we'll save that for then.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Right.
Now everybody's curious. All right. Well,
suspense.
Moving on.
We're
It's
building
suspense. As you can tell from our festive decor, not mine, but more Pops and Molly, this is kind of our Christmas episode, and we're not going to be broadcasting next week. We're going to take some time off to spend with our families, and as you are as well, I'm sure. Molly told me to dress festive. All I came up with was a red sweater and a mug of hot cocoa. My Miami Dolphins, they may have lost last night, but I'm still a proud fan. So, but we thought we would talk tonight about the best gifts to give to the writer in your life, or if you're a writer, the best gifts to ask your family for. And so, before we start with our list, I thought I'd ask you each, what was the best writing gift you ever received? And before I get your answers, I did want to give Molly a little bit of a shout out on your blog this week. You just covered this topic, correct?
Yes.
Best gifts for writers? Yeah. So if you want,
Yeah.
I'll have the show notes up on Sunday night, or late Sunday night, early Monday morning. But in the meantime, you can check out her blog at franklymydearmojo.com. Did I get that right?
You did. Thank
Good.
you.
We've been doing this long enough. You think I would know that by now?
I want to put that
good.
on the Blue Ridge blog. That was a good post.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my
Great.
favorite was the private island that you suggested. So,
Yeah.
but our suggestions tonight are going to be a little more cost effective.
That's a must.
A little bit.
Yeah. If you can't get the private island, just don't get anything at all. That's what I say. Just don't even try.
Well, I
Why
did
bother?
also offer the more practical versions of, if you can't do a private island, there's things like a more cost effective. So on the blog, there's a little bit. I didn't want to give too much away. I know we were going to be practical here tonight, so
Yes.
we
More
got to stay
practical.
grounded.
Yes. So, Pops, what is the best? Before I ask Molly, so she didn't know I was going to ask this, so I'm giving her time to prepare in her mind. Pops, what was the
yay.
best writing gift that you've ever received?
I'm going to have to go with a recent gift from your mom, who gave me a 1950 KMG Royal typewriter. And I believe every serious writer ought to have an old typewriter, old iron, as they say, hanging around. Not to write your books on. I'm not writing 350 pages on some of these old clunkers, but because of what it represents, the beauty of some of them. And she brought that home, and I absolutely love the thing. And it was out before I was born. So, and of course that led to my addiction now. I don't know if they have a multi-step addiction process for addiction to old typewriters, but it just represented a lot to me about writing and the way writers used to do. And so as I collect these, I try to collect some that are somehow tied, maybe not directly, but to a writer. So, for example, I have a 1933 Royal Model O Portable, and that's the kind of typewriter Hemingway used to write For Whom the Bell Tolls. He had 7 typewriters, so it's nothing to get crazy about because he probably had 6 different ones. But nonetheless, it says something to me. And Ray Bradbury used a very similar one to that Royal Standard that I mentioned, the gray KMG. So that's been just a lot of fun for me. It's created another hobby, and it has me thinking a lot about writers from a few decades ago. Just watched the J.D. Salinger documentary, and showing him with his Royal typewriter pounding away. But anyway, it's just got me interested in the way writers used to do it.
Absolutely. I think they do have a 12-key program.
12-key program.
Okay, that's
36-key program. I've been holding that pun for a while. All right.
I thought you were about to choke there.
great.
It looked like you were choking on something.
All right, Molly, how about you? Best writing gift you ever got?
Honestly, best physical gift I'd have to say is my laptop. Once I got real serious about writing, I needed something that I could tote here and there, and I had my desktop iMac. And after a few conversations with family about 6-7 years ago, they're like, "You really need a laptop," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And so they got me a laptop for my birthday, and it's the same one I'm using now, a couple of upgrades, but that's the best thing. Other than that, honestly, the best gifts that I've gotten have been the support and encouragement from other people, just helping me know that I'm on the right path with my writing, because that's so important to me to know that this is where I need to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. So.
Very well said. Very well said. And I would agree with that. The encouragement is super important. And I did want to call you out a little bit because I thought it was a little low class that you would drag your desktop to Starbucks just to shame your family into getting you a laptop.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but that was before you started mentoring me. So then I said, "Hey, Aaron says I need a laptop," and so.
You just walking into Starbucks with a wheelbarrow. You got a PC tower
Is there
here.
a place I can plug this one in? Yeah. Well, but the thing is when you bring that much hardware into Starbucks, they know you're going to stay a while, so they don't really complain too much as long as you keep ordering the coffee.
That's true. That's true. I did for a while try and put a coffee grinder, attach that to my desktop, and unsuccessfully. So, that would be a good gift, though.
Little espresso maker that attaches to your computer. I like it.
Yeah. I don't know why that market hasn't been tapped, but there's some money there. Well, for me, there's a couple of them. My family, and I didn't bring any out because I hadn't planned on this, but they have taken to giving me little dragon statues that I now collect because of years now, and so I really like those. I like looking at them. They're inspirational, kind of give me ideas and stuff like that, and they're tangible, so I can put them on my desk and look at them and pick them up and turn them around. And so that's, I think, one of the best writing gifts I got, just to kind of help spur the imagination. Ray Bradbury used to write in an office with all sorts of trinkets and doodads and stuff to kind of inspire his mind. The other one I got just recently, and I feel bad because I still haven't put it together. I don't know if are you able to see this. It's a quill. It's a feather pin set that was given to me by my sister, Crystal. Pops, I think you know her.
I've met her.
Yeah, and so she brought that down to me when just before I did my book signing at Barnes & Noble. I thought that was very, very thoughtful. And one of the reasons that we talk about getting gifts for your writer friends and family is because not only is it helpful to them, but as Molly said, the encouragement and the support. When you give a writing gift to the writer in your life, you are recognizing their call to be a writer, you're recognizing their determination to become one, and you are pledging your support to help them in that venture. And there's really nothing more valuable than that. You can't put a price tag on that. So I hadn't planned on saying that, but Molly, you just got me thinking. Without a supportive family, writing is nearly impossible. So
Yeah.
Definitely do that, and you'll see them light up. Just not only because they like the gift, but because you recognizing their call. And so that's an important thing. Well, shall we get into it? I feel like we've
Yes.
danced around the topic for a while here, so we're just going to kind of handle this. I listed some, Pops, you listed some, Molly, you listed some, so I thought we'd just kind of handle it in order, and I'll go kind of quickly through mine. If you guys have questions about it, feel free to ask. But the first thing that I have listed here is Scrivener, Scrivener. You can find it at literatureandlatte.com, which is a company that makes the program Scrivener. What it is it's writing software, and you may think, well, the writer has Microsoft Word already. They don't need anything else. And I felt that way for a long time until I actually tried Scrivener, and then I thought, I don't know how I've been writing without it. Very useful, very versatile. It allows you to write scene by scene, so you can drag and drop scenes to the appropriate places. You can easily go and find the scene. So rather than thinking, well, I need to find the scene where this character does this particular thing and having to do a Control F and hope that you can remember one of the sentences you wrote, or scrolling mindlessly through the pages, you just go, oh, chapter 2, scene 6, right there, that's the one I want, and you're instantly there. It streamlines that process. It's got a lot of other bells and whistles. Most of them I don't use, just because that's really all I need is something to kind of organize my thoughts. You can put together outlines. You can put additional documents in there for research purposes. It allows a ton of things, and it's a fairly decent price. I think you can still get a copy of it for about $50, maybe even less.
Just checking that. Scrivener 2 for Mac is $45.
It's
don't
comparable
know if
for
it's
the
any
PC.
different for PC, so be right about that, I would guess.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be anything more than that for PC. So between $40 and $50, I think you can even get student discounts for it. They've got templates for novels, for autobiographies, for school papers. It's great if you're writing a short story collection. There's all sorts of things that it's just really positive for.
Do you have to be a student to get the student discount?
I'll let you talk to Literature and Latte about that.
I mean, couldn't you be a student of life?
A student of the craft. I listened to some fiction. The craft.
I was a student of life, but I flunked out. The Windows version is $5 cheaper.
They held me back. I have to repeat the class.
Yeah, the Windows version is $40. The Microsoft version, the Apple version, the El Capitan is $45. So
interesting. Yeah, so it's very, very manageable, and that you get updates, and so you don't have to keep paying for releases and stuff like that. It'll keep you updated, and some really positive stuff there. So I encourage you to look into it. If you do, let me know. Um, there's some great tutorial videos out there that exist that I can recommend for you.
Nice.
Yeah,
They do. They
Ops.
have a lot of good tutorials that help you through it because it is a powerful program for 40-45 bucks. It's just amazing. You used to have to pay 400 for this kind of thing. So it's a great program, and you can do a free trial too.
Mhm.
So if you want to see it's going to be right as a gift for someone, or if you want to gift yourself, do the free trial. Give it a look. See, run through some of the videos so you can see what it can do. Um, Ultimately, you're going to end up in a word processor anyway, probably, because you're going to have to either export it out of that into to something. But that's very easily done and worth it. I don't always use it, but I've used it many times. I've done several books on it.
We did some time ago. We did a cast on the best software for writers, and this I think was our unanimous suggestion. A buddy of mine named UV, YUVI, buddy of mine from Antioch uses it and swears by it, and he's done some videos, some tutorials that a little content warning on him because he has some colorful language when he describes things, but they're hilarious. He's such a great human being and very funny, very knowledgeable, and I used his videos to kind of learn how to do it. But he explains it really well. He says, I didn't think I needed it, and then I realized this is what it offers me. So some good stuff there. Maybe I can put those in the show notes. And speaking of notes, my next point is Aqua Notes. And this is not something that I realized existed until I started Googling, best gift for writers. And Aqua Notes popped up in a couple different places. It's waterproof paper. It's a pad of waterproof paper. You stick it in your shower, and you take notes while you're in the shower. And I mean,
I
how
want
fantastic,
that.
right?
I didn't even know it. Don't laugh at me, Al. I want that. I didn't know it existed.
It's modern technology, people. This is where we're at in our society. Is we've got waterproof paper, and we can take notes in the shower because you're not busy enough. You might as well get some work done while you're cleaning yourself. This is called multitasking, my friends.
Right. Yes.
You can't take your cell phone into the shower. Trust me, I've tried it. And so you want to, you want to have something that's not going to, fizzle out and electrocute you. So Aqua Notes, that's there. You can find that on Amazon.com.
Do you
Or
know
if you
how
go to
hard
the
it-
website, the website is myaquanotes, all one word.com.
Okay.
Okay. You know how hard it is when you're in the shower and you get a brainstorm of an idea to keep repeating it to yourself for the next 10, 15 minutes or whatever until you can get to paper and pen and write it down? I want
done
Aqua
that.
Notes. I'm just saying I want Aqua Notes.
And,
Besides, it sounds like a superhero object to have. Aqua Notes. We need that.
I'm just noticing their picture here.
the great
Somebody's in the shower, they're writing with a pencil on this thing, and it says, "No more great ideas down the drain."
That's great.
How long did it take to come up with that?
the great thing about having a brainstorm in the shower, you're already getting wet. So okay, well, moving on. All right.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It just seemed too easy. All right, so Audible subscription, audible.com. I used to have oh my goodness, 45-minute to an hour commute one way, so I was spending at least an hour and a half to 2 hours in the car every day. I lived by Audible. I love Audible. Even now that my commute is substantially shorter, I was going to say smaller and then shorter, and then it was shorter, which is not what I wanted to say.
Is that a new word?
It's about
Shmorter?
5 minutes. It's shorter. It is. It's about 5 minutes long, and I still listen to Audible. Just walking into my classroom on the drive over, doing yard work, which, let's be honest, I don't do that. But if I were to do some yard work, when I'm vacuuming, making lemonade for my wife while she's working on my car outside, the normal stuff. It's great. It's nice to be able to to have some time to read again. And so they have different plans. It's very affordable, by the way, very affordable. You can get it on your smartphone. You can burn it to CD if you want to do that. All sorts of options. You can get one book a month, or you can get 2 books a month, and it's just fantastic. So I can't recommend that highly enough. Most major publishers now are doing audiobooks. It's a lot cheaper and easier to produce now, and so that most of them are, if not all of them, including Lighthouse Publishing in the Carolinas, who has an audio version of The Bargain available at audible.com. So if you join, you get one free credit, a trial membership. If you do that, you get one free credit, and you can use that on The Bargain, which is a fantastic book. It'll change
it. Work?
It was subtle.
It was. You know, I will say, in full honesty, Aaron, it was because The Bargain came out on Audible books that I actually got an Audible subscription. How long did you and I argue about how that's not real reading?
It's real. Well,
he worked on me for about a year before I could sit down and listen to a book and consider it actually going through the book. But yeah, now I do.
Yeah, you can't take notes. I mean, it's you know, there are definitely advantages to having a physical copy of the book, but in the interest of time, there's nothing better. And some of these readers are just really, really good. And so for me, it all goes back to multitasking. I'll listen to a book while I'm in the shower since I don't have Aqua Notes. So, you know, I'll just put it on my speaker out on the counter and kind of have it turned up so that I can hear it. All right. I think that's more information than anybody ever wanted to hear. So let's move to the next point.
I use it sometimes to consume books that I probably wouldn't pay for normally. Wouldn't pay full price for it, but I'm curious. And so I'll say, I'll go ahead and do that. And, you know, because it's a subscription thing, it is much cheaper than buying a large book. I was going through one on the Wright brothers, you know, and I don't know what that book is, $40 or something, and we pay, I think, $8 a month or something, so I can get, you know, a couple a month like that. So I get that book for, in essence, free.
And that's the perfect segue into just pitching The Bargain again. I mean, you would never really buy a physical copy of that, so might as well just try it on Audible, right?
Yes, you would. You would buy it, and you would read along with the Audible, which you also buy.
Oh, that guy did such a phenomenal job. I'm just really impressed with
Well,
him.
that brings up another thing. I've done that for research. And I'll listen to it being read. I will sometimes have the book in front of me, and I'll take notes in the book. So I can track them down. Or usually it's an e-book because that's cheaper yet, and I can highlight and search and stuff like that. But if I don't want the Kindle to read to me, if I have the Audible, sometimes I'll do that too, because I'm using more than 1 cent to bring the information in.
And Amazon owns Audible, and so everything's cross-pollinated now, and so you can get like the Whisper Sync, so you can start reading it on your Kindle and then switch over to the audio version, and vice versa. And so it's really streamlined, and they have like special deals, like buy the Audible version, get the ebook for a discounted rate, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of options, a lot of really good options. So. Craft books is the next one, and I don't want to spend too long on these because I feel like I'm beating the dead horse. I've talked about these books often. Pops, you have some that you're going to mention here, but we did a cast probably last year or the year before where we did the best craft books available for writers of fiction. And so I'll refer you to that and maybe put that in the show notes so you can get a more comprehensive breakdown of each of these if you're interested. And if not, then just Google them on your own time. Find them on Amazon. I think they're all available through Amazon, etc. Some of these are a little bit older, though, and so you may have more trouble finding it on Amazon. And Pops, you've got a website where people can look that up, and I'll let you talk about that here in a bit. But for me, some of the best craft books that I've read, Bird by Bird by Annie Lamott. That's one of the classics. Most fiction writers are familiar with it. It's very well read in the community. On Writing by Stephen King, also same thing. Most people have heard of it at least, if not read it. It's a fantastic read. My favorite for the beginning writer is Making Shapely Fiction by Jerome Stern. And I won't go into too much detail, but if you're just a beginning writer, just starting out, that's the best way to start. He'll get you going. He'll get you writing fast and writing good stuff quickly. Great like writing prompts, etc. For the more advanced writer, I would suggest Naming the World by Brett Anthony Johnston. He compiled a collection from famous writers. and these are writing prompts that they give to their students when they're teaching, and writing prompts that they've done in their, in their education, etc. So that's really good. And then my favorite is Mystery and Manners by Flannery O'Connor. It's probably the most influential writing book I've ever read, and I'll take that to my grave. I think literally I'm going to have that book buried with me. Just super fantastic stuff. It might be a little extreme. Who am I to judge? So, Pops, you had a couple you wanted to mention?
Sure. I'm noticing one of the ones you mentioned is not in the show notes.
I'm going to add it right now. I'm going to mute and add.
All righty. Yeah, and for those listening, watching, and then maybe later listening, whatever category you fall in, these will be in the show notes. So, we're not going to dwell on them, but you can go and get the list off the show notes. He puts it on there. It's on aarongansky.com, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
aarongansky.com. Yeah. Okay, so these are some. Almost every writer I know has Elements of Style by Strunk and White. Itty bitty book, but it's almost like a passport for writers. If you tell somebody you're a writer but you don't have Elements of Style, then they'll look at you suspiciously and wonder what you're trying to pull. It's a great little book, little bits of advice. Strunk was White's professor. And it has just advice about cutting the clutter, getting the words in the right order, that sort of thing. The White that's mentioned is E.B. White, Charlotte's Web, among other things. And he added a section to the itty bitty book that was given out to the students, and he deals with composition and stuff. Great little book to have. The Art of War for Writers by James Scott Bell. Jim's a buddy, and he has many good books out there on writing. Most of them published with Writer's Digest. But The Art of War for Writers is a good book, very inspiring. For me, one of the best books, been most helpful books to me, is Getting the Words Right. Getting the Words Right. That's by Theodore A. Reese Cheney. Yeah, 4 names. Theodore Cheney. And some of it is theory. You don't have to get too much into the theory, but the front half of the book is amazing. And really opened my eyes on how to cut clutter and make sense in the writing. Another great book. This one's more classic than anything because it was done a long time ago. It was written on a typewriter. And that is On Writing Well by William Zinsser. It's a general writing book, including nonfiction. But I like this guy so much, I named one of my characters after him in one of my books. One of the Jeff Strucker books. There's a character named Zinsser, and it's because of William Zinsser, On Writing Well. Now, it might be a book that's difficult to get. In a little bit, I'm going to tell you one way to get those out-of-print books for very little money. These next ones are considered just standards for novelists. Writing the Breakout Novel by Donald Moss. He's an agent now, but he was a writer before. Donald Moss, that's with 2 A's and 2 S's in the last name. Writing the Breakout Novel. It's sort of the advanced book. The Career Novelist, that's probably the advanced book, also by Donald Moss. And then another one, which was really written for people who write screenplays, but the basic storytelling is the same, so you get some good ideas there. And that's Stein on Writing by Sol Stein, S-O-L, Stein. Stein on Writing. That's very good. I think I got that for you, Aaron, one year.
Yep.
Writing the Blockbuster Novel by Albert Zuckerman. He almost ended up being my agent. He's an agent now. And one of my faves, Sometimes the Magic Works by Terry Brooks, fantasy novelist, a lawyer who took his skill at fantasy and started applying it to books. My apologies to lawyers out there.
I saw that one coming.
Yeah, I was...
Wait, I get that.
If you didn't make the joke, I would have made it.
But he became a fantasy writer and is very well known now. Sometimes the Magic Works, very insightful, very honest. Great chapters like You're Not Really Here, Are You? Talking about the writer's ability to displace and be someplace else even when they're in a crowd, thinking about their stories. And it's true, most of us as writers, no matter where we are, we aren't there. Do it all the time. Writing the Blockbuster Novel by Albert Zuckerman. Oh, I already gave that one. I'm sorry. Sometimes the Magic Works. Terry Brooks, which I just talked about, and then How to Write Science Fiction and Fantasy by Orson Scott Card, who it turns out knows a little bit about this. He's one of the best science fiction writers around. I first became acquainted with him reading short stories a long time ago, and I thought this guy is absolutely great. And then he started writing novels, and he's had a great, great career. All right, now, some of these go in and out of print. So if it's out of print, I'm going to recommend that you run over to abebooks.com. That's abebooks.com, all one word. And what they do is they sell, they're sort of like the eBay for books, books that are out of print. And what you would end up buying for a few dollars is maybe something from a library. Some people go to library clearances and they pick up all the books and then they sell them. Sometimes it's the library itself that's doing the selling. And so what you'll do is you'll get a used book, and it might even have, a library stamp in it and a little place in the pocket in the front for the card that they used to use and that sort of thing. And for one of the nonfiction things that I'm working on, I've needed to get Clarence Darrow's autobiography and John T. Scope's autobiography and William Jennings Bryan and so on. And I got all of them through abebooks.com. And some of them are like $4. And sometimes the shipping is free. So it's a great place, abebooks.com. I'm not sure you can get everything, but there's a very good chance you can get those. And that's my list for tonight as far as craft books goes. And remember, run over to the show notes and you can see them all written there.
Tell me more about these libraries. What are those? I've heard of them
after the Middle Ages. Yeah, libraries where you used to go to read books. It's kind of sad. It's where Ray Bradbury wrote Fahrenheit 451 in the basement library.
Wow.
Near him. He paid 10 cents an hour to use their KMM Royal Standard typewriter to crank out Fahrenheit 451. And when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time in the library. I think I checked out everything they had in my local library. And yeah, they're still around. And they're trying to adapt to all the new technology.
Yeah, absolutely. They're good places too. We've got some good libraries up here in the desert, so never thought I would say that, but I just did. So moving on. All right. Story starters and writer's block help. There are a variety of these. So I've just mentioned 3 of them that I came across in my research, and they're all kind of variations on the same idea, which is taking ridiculous ideas and having you write about them as a means of overcoming writer's block. One is called the Writer's Toolbox. This is a little more kind of a creative writing class in a box, if you will. It's got, writing prompts. It's got other like games that you can play to kind of stimulate the writer's mind. They've got one called Storymatic Classic, which is a box of cards. Think of like not unlike Trivial Pursuit, but they'll have story starting ideas and things to mix and match and come up with new ideas. And the last one that's kind of intriguing is called Story Cubes. Same basic idea. Each cube, think of dice, and each die has 6 different images on it, icons, if you will, and then you roll them, and whatever you roll, that's what's in your scene. And so they're little things to kind of get you jump started when you feel stagnant, stale, you don't know what your next project is going to be. These are great things to kind of get you going. So a variety of those. Bookends, another great one. I saw a pair of bookends that looks like a ninja sword going through the books. I want that one.
I want that.
Yeah.
I want that one.
That would be so awesome.
Yes.
But one of the other great writing gifts that I've received, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, is a pair of bookends. Just clocks, big, nice clocks. And it was given to me by my grandmother-in-law, so Naomi's grandmother. She gave them to me long ago, long before I'd published anything. And she said, these are the bookends to hold all the wonderful books that you're going to write.
Nice. So she's a saint then.
Oh, she is
lady.
A saint.
Aww.
So bless her heart. And she wasn't around to see the publication of The Bargain, and that made me really sad. But it was. I still have those, and I still use them, and they're very, very special to me. So Something like that. Again, it's a lot of times the sentimental value. So even though it's a pair of bookends with a ninja sword that we think is kind of a cute novelty, when you send that message to somebody, that'll keep them writing for years. Some other staples here. Thank you. Yeah, I almost forgot about it, and I don't know why. It should have been the first thing that I thought of in this cast. But mugs, maybe like a Miami Dolphins mug, huh?
New Orleans Starbucks mug.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
Something I've seen some that are like Kurt Vonnegut mug I saw that was fantastic. One which I thought was perfect was first lines in fiction, best first lines in books. A mug with all of those printed on it, and I thought, oh, that's if there's ever a mug for me, that's it. But I collect those little glasses you've seen me drink out of them, the Marvel glasses. They've got little Spider-Mans and Captain Americas and stuff like that.
And Iron Man.
And Iron Man. And it is the thought that counts here. So getting something that they enjoy, be it a hobby or something that they write about, that's going to go a little bit further. So rather than just having a nice little mug, it's a New Orleans mug because you're writing a book about New Orleans.
Yes.
It's a mug with a dragon on it because you're writing a fantasy, whatever that may be. It's the Millennium Falcon on it if you're writing science fiction. And I got my Star Wars tickets today, and I'm really happy. Another gift that you can get, I just thought I'd slip that in there.
Hang on.
Oh, wow, that was really just...
Let's back up on the mugs. My good friend Jack Kavanaugh got me a mug that I dearly love. It printed all around the mug. First of all, it's a stylish mug, and I've had it for a decade or so. But all around it, it's short lines from Shakespeare. It's all of Shakespeare's insults.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Beetled ear knave, I can't remember all of them, but some of them were just really rude. And let's face it, isn't that what you want when you're drinking your coffee? Some rude comments printed on your cup. But they were Shakespeare, so.
So you don't have to think too hard before you insult someone before you've had your coffee.
That's great.
Yeah, it was. I loved the manufacturer was Out of Work Philosophers, I think, was the company that made it. These are people who'd majored in philosophy and couldn't get a job, so they started making mugs.
Did hearing all those insults take you back to high school, Pops?
Yeah, that's Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I always called him Bill. Bill Shakespeare.
Billy Shakespeare. He was a bully.
Bill
the bully. So, another great gift that you can give, and this one I think is very practical. It's a little pricier. A telescoping standing desk. And if you've ever looked into the price of a standing desk, oh my great googly moogly, you're paying a lot of money for it. What is a standing desk? It's a desk that you stand at rather than sitting. Why? Because when you're writing for a number of years or hours, maybe not years in a day, but a number of hours a day, like your nether regions can become sensitive, and your back can really hurt. There can become a lot of physical problems with posture and things of that nature. Sometimes it's nice to stand. When I'm working at home, I'll type at the kitchen counter as best I can for a while, and then I'll sit down and I'll do some more typing, kind of alternating between the two. But that's a good one, and I've got the link there on our show notes, so you can look into those. And the last one that I have is a lot pricier, an extra monitor. If they're using a laptop, get them an extra monitor, because man, it's really nice to have two screens. It's to have your project open here and your research over here. Super nice. I've done that for a while. It's hard to go back. It's hard to go back to just one monitor. So that's what I have. We're kind of coming up on time here, so I want to give Pops. I want to give you some time, and then Molly's got some that she also wants to mention. So Pops.
Well, I'll say amen to the telescoping standing desk. Some people just use them as lecterns. I've got one that's designed to take a laptop computer, and it's back there somewhere. And it's great to work standing up. A quick quiz for you. Can you name any famous author that wrote standing up?
No.
That's right, Thomas Wolfe. And and that's right, Molly, Winston Churchill. And you don't want to forget Hemingway. He wrote standing up too sometimes. So it's not unusual. And it does give you a little different perspective on things.
Wow.
I would add to it what I mentioned earlier, a vintage typewriter. That thrills writers most of the time. Most right-thinking writers love them. See what I did
Where
there?
do you get the ribbon for old typewriters?
Well, they still sell them. Most
But
typewriters
where?
take a half-inch ribbon. I go to Amazon.
Okay.
$6 gets me 2 of them. And if you have the original spools on the typewriter, you want to get rid of the old ribbon, and then you want to put the new ribbon on the original spools, if you can do that. So, but I love them, and most writers really do, because it represents something that's part of the writer heritage. Even though very few writers, some still do, but very few writers will plunk down or sit down and just start hammering out an entire book on a typewriter. Try it. You'll really appreciate the guys who came before us. Gift certificate to online retailers like Amazon.com. If you don't know what book to get them, a writing book, get them a gift certificate, and let them get whatever they want for that. So, Molly, you have some here?
I do.
All righty.
I know. I don't usually add to the show notes, but I did this time. I think one of the most fundamental things that we can do to support other writers is give them the supplies they need: notebooks, paper, printer ink, things that say, hey, you know what, I'm going to invest in your time and your craft by giving you the basic essentials. That's always nice when people do stuff like that. I had we posted this comments throughout the last week on social media of what makes a good writer's gift, and a lot of people were coming up with supplies: the legal pads, the notepads, the red ink pens, whatever it takes to get the job done. So that was pretty great. Inspirational resources themed along the current works in progress. Again, I'll go back to my New Orleans themed mug. My really good friend for life and longer, my friend Lisa, which we haven't seen each other for 30 years, but we stayed in touch by the beauty of Facebook. So great for social media. But she knows I'm working on a story set in New Orleans, so she sent me that mug, and I use that now when I write, and it kind of helps keep me focused. Looking at the other stuff here. Oh, non-writing distractions. Writers are not only writers. They are readers, crafters, movie watchers, eaters, drinkers, gamers. Give them a brain break and something else to do. Give them dinner and a movie. Aaron, you got your tickets to Star Wars. Awesome. That has nothing to do with writing, except it's going to refresh and revive you to take that break away from the writing. Send them. Mary Ruth Hughes, a very good friend of mine, she's such an advocate for taking a half a day at the spa or getting a massage, just something that's going to help you de-stress and let your mind work while the rest of your body is relaxing. So I really like those ideas.
Agree.
I like the idea of finding what your particular author, that particular person, what their quirks or personality are like. Every writer is going to need a red pen. Every writer is going to need a notebook. So find out one thing that particular writer would associate with, would treasure, would hold on to. Another shout out to Mary Ruth. She's always giving me anything with frogs, jewelry, little ceramics, anything to do with frogs, because the frog is the logo for my company, and it's just really a nice little thought, because it's still, for me, an inspirational writer. It comes from another writer, but it has nothing to do with writing. But it's still, for me, inspirational. Music.
I'll add a little something to that if I can. One of the great gifts I got was from a friend of mine whom we lost a number of years ago. Worked for NASA, but for Christmas he got me it's a tin, looked like a cookie tin, but inside was a DVD for Forbidden Planet, one of the best old science fiction movies ever made. It's one of the top 5, probably in the top 2, really. And but it came with a little Robbie robot. I was trying to see if I could find him. I've got him around here someplace. And that meant a lot to me, because one, it was story, it was science fiction, which we both liked, and then I got to keep the little toy memento. It reminds me of the movie. It reminds me of him. So it worked out very well. I'm trying to figure out where I put Robbie here.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Oh, there he is. He's laying down on the job on my other desk.
Well, now we want to see him. Go grab him.
I don't know if I can reach him from here. But anyway, those kinds of things are very good. And I'll just add that for a while my wife was getting me little toys or little models of things that have appeared in my books. So I have a tiny little model of a Corsair 4AU, which is a World War II plane with the gull wings. I'll tell you more about that than you want to know. A track hoe, for excavating, because that appeared in one story and it was crucial. So, but carry on. I'll go grab Robbie here.
Okay, you do that. One of the suggestions I have is music CDs or an iTunes gift card. Aaron, I know that we've talked before. We've had a podcast dedicated to basically inspirational music or what to listen to while we're doing the writing and the editing. And to have music or even white noise on in the background can help keep you focused or keep you directed toward that particular goal. So to buy music CDs or soundtracks or something that, again, for you would probably be, the Star Wars CD soundtrack or something, for Al, the themes to, Perry Mason and Alfred Hitchcock, things like that, or build them a CD, everybody can do a download now, create your own personalized CD or something, but the music that they can listen to in the background and keep them going.
Absolutely. Nice little mixtape maybe.
Yeah.
Bringing back the mixtape.
I was going to say it wouldn't be really a tape, but sure, why not? Go big. If you want to be really generous for the author, contribute to their funds, the travel funds, the conferences, the retreats. Good friend of mine that I met last May at Blue Ridge, Ron Curtis, he was gifted that retreat or that conference from his children for a Christmas gift. And he said without that, he would not have been able to go there. So that's really neat to hear. And again, that's part of the family stepping up, the family and friends saying, hey, we believe enough in you as a writer that we're going to support you. We're going to send you to this place or this thing or this event. That's pretty cool. And then the last I had on my list is gift baskets. I'm a big proponent of taking a bunch of little things and putting them together into one big package, and I like gift baskets. So if Cafe Du Monde is listening, I'm writing about NOLA, and I would really like a beignet and coffee and chicory gift basket. I'm just saying.
Send it to Alton Gansky.
No. well, you can, but he'll personally deliver it untouched, right? That's what you meant to say, right?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I can't hear you.
Yeah, okay.
Technical difficulties.
Send one to Al and send the backup to Molly.
The great thing about a gift basket is it allows you to get several of these, and it shows. I don't know. I don't get gift baskets for people because I don't think I'm thoughtful enough. But I always appreciate them when I get them, especially when you take the time to consider what they'd like in there. To give them a CD and some of the basic supplies and a mug and whatever else, these small items that you can get that all kind of add up to the one thing that says we love you and we respect you as a writer and we believe in you and we're going to support you. And that's, again, the greatest gift that you could ever get a writer. So we are coming up on time. Molly, do we have any questions and comments from the room today?
No, it went by really fast. This was a fast hour. Tess and I were just going back and forth talking, so I'm going to scroll to the beginning and see. Well, we started out talking about dental work, but we all know how that ended up. Tess wanted to know who was the writer that had 3 typewriters. Al says that was Isaac Asimov, who, by the way, has the best quote that I've ever had as a writer or for writing. He says, I write for the same reason I breathe, because if I didn't, I would die. And when I first heard that quote, I just remember being able to say, yeah, that's it right there.
He has another one. He said, what would you do if your doctor told you you only had 2 weeks to live? He said, I'd type faster.
Ah, that too. We've decided to make schmorter a new word, so we're going to put that into the dictionary next year.
We are victories.
We are. Talking about getting notebooks for Christmas. Tess also has Audible books. Talking about, all the ways that we can bankrupt people before libraries and lending things came along. Mary Ruth has a mug that says, writers do it with imagination. That's her writer's mug. And that's it. There are no other comments.
Excellent. All right. Well, some good participation. Thank you guys for joining us and for conversating with us. And Pops, it appears that you are able to jump in there from time to time and say things. So I guess I'm the only one who's slacking, not monitoring the room. So my apologies for that. Well, this was our week to have Heather Luby on with us. And as you can tell, she is not with us. So we just want to give just a quick little update. There was some family medical issues. I believe it's her father-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Her father-in-law has fallen ill and has been in the hospital, and so her and her family have been there with him and supporting him. So prayers for her family are greatly appreciated. She was hoping to make it on. She said she could use the distraction from everything else, and she wanted to spend the time with you guys and with us, and it did not happen tonight. So just in your thoughts and prayers, if you keep her and her family in your thoughts and prayers, we would, as a family, as a First Sin Fiction family, we would greatly appreciate it, and I know her family would as well. So if you could do that, thank you very much for it. Again, next week, we will not be here on Tuesday night. Spend the night with your family. Enjoy that. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. And don't forget, you can look us up at aarongansky.com. You can ask the author there as well. So in the meantime, in the next 2 weeks, if you can't, since you won't be seeing us, Pops, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, nothing's changed. I'm on most of the social media, though I'm not real active because I don't have a social media ninja. But then also Gansky.com, which has been pretty dormant lately because I've been doing most of my work on the Blue Ridge site. And so probably the Blue Ridge site's going to be the best. So things really slow down in publishing, especially the last half of December. So it's like everybody leaves the planet.
And Molly?
My blog is franklymydearmojo.com. I'm on Twitter at realmojo68, and I'm all over Facebook. And if you Google me, it is Molly Jo Realy, R-E-A-L-Y, and you can find me anywhere.
Excellent.
Almost anywhere. Mostly at Starbucks and online.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Well, I'm at aarongansky.com. I'm at ADGansky on the Twitter. I'm on the Facebook. And just if you haven't heard through my other social media channels and my social media ninja, we've tried to let people know that Hand of Adonai is only $1 on the Kindle right now. So I think one of the best gifts that you can give the writer in your family is a copy of Hand of Adonai for $1. So if you already have your copy, go ahead and get a digital copy to keep it on your phone so you can read it while you're driving. No, maybe not. While you're out and about, or you can gift it to somebody. Would really appreciate that. So, and it's not going to be $1 for much longer. So you'll want to pop on over to Amazon.com.
Do it now.
And you can find us there. So,
Aaron.
Yes.
Where are you going to be on December 21st?
Oh my goodness, that's right. I need to confirm it again, but it was confirmed last time I spoke. I'll be on channel 33. I believe it's KV as in Victor, V as in Victor, B as in boy.tv. I'll be talking about this very issue, gifts that you can get the writer in your life. So it's a local television station here. So if you want to see me again, you can do it that way. I don't know the exact time. I'll try and find that and put that in the show notes. They
can stream it online. It's a TV show, but it's also online, correct?
That is correct. So you can find me there. And I'll put the address on the show notes, and I'll be sure to put it out on my social media channels. So
yes, you be sure and put that out there on your social media channels, Aaron.
I'll have Molly put it out on my social media channels. I'm so bad. So
that's okay. Right. But look, this is another gift that I love from being a writer. This is why I get the plates. He puts stuff on my plate. So
I need to get you a Christmas one now. So
yes, you do.
Well, we thank you all for listening, and until next week, good writing.